Most people think debt becomes dangerous when the number gets big, but that's not how debt actually ruins lives. In reality, some people carry $20,000 of debt and sleep just fine. They wake up calm. They make plans. They see a path forward, even if it's long, while others owe $5,000 and feel like they're constantly running out of air. Because the most dangerous kind of debt isn't heavy. It's tight. It doesn't wait. It doesn't forgive mistakes. And it doesn't care how hard you're trying. This is about the difference between controlled debt and panic debt and why the smaller number is often the one that breaks people. Picture two people, same job, same paycheck, same rent, same ordinary expenses. On paper, their lives look nearly identical. Except one of them carries debt that feels like background noise present. Yes, but distant enough to think around. The other carries debt that feels like a hand on their shoulder every single morning. The first person owes $18,000 on a car loan. Fixed payment, known timeline. 5 years left, maybe 4 if things go well. The payment comes out automatically on the 15th of every month, and life continues. The second person owes $4,800 across 3 credit cards and a payday loan. The minimums shift. The due dates don't line up. One of them has a 28% interest rate. Another charges a fee if the payment is even a day late. Same effort, same income, completely different pressure. Because debt is not a number. It's a daily experience. Controlled debt gives you room to think. It has a structure, a predictable rhythm. You know what's expected and when and what happens if something goes slightly wrong? It doesn't punish you for being human. If you're a week late on a car payment, the lender might send a reminder. Maybe they charge a small fee, but the car doesn't vanish. Your credit doesn't collapse. The world doesn't tilt. Controlled debt has a long timeline. It knows you'll have good months and bad months. It's built for that. It can wait. This is the kind of debt that lets you plan. It sits in the background of your mind, manageable like a bill you've learned to work around. You don't love it, but it doesn't chase you. You can miss it for a day or two, not on purpose, but because life happened, and still recover without catastrophe. That's control. Panic debt doesn't give you time. It taps you on the shoulder. It shows up every morning before you've had coffee. It doesn't wait for your life to cooperate. It is the kind of debt where missing one payment means 3 problems arrive at once. A late fee, a penalty, interest rate, and a ding on your credit that makes the next emergency even harder to handle. Panic debt has short deadlines and high consequences. It compounds. It accelerates. And it doesn't care that you were trying. This is the debt that makes you check your bank balance twice before buying groceries. The kind that turns a flat tire into a crisis because there's no room for anything unexpected. It doesn't feel like something you're managing. It feels like something that's managing you. When you're living under panic debt, something shifts in the way you think. Your focus narrows. Long-term planning becomes impossible because short-term survival takes all your energy. You stop thinking about next year. You stop thinking about next month. You're just trying to make it to Friday. This isn't weakness. It's not poor decision making. It's what happens when the brain is under constant low-grade threat. You start avoiding things, you don't open the mail. You don't check your balance. Not because you don't care, but because knowing feels worse than not knowing. And you're already using every bit of energy you have just to keep moving. And the exhaustion isn't just mental. It's physical. It's the kind of tired that sleep doesn't fix. Panic debt hijacks decision making. It keeps you in survival mode, and survival mode doesn't plan, it reacts. Here's how it happens. Nothing dramatic. Just one bad month. Your paycheck comes in 2 days late because of a banking holiday. Not your fault. Just timing. But your credit card payment was due yesterday. So now there's a $35 late fee. And because you missed the due date, your interest rate jumps from 19% to 29%. Then your car needs new brakes, not optional. You need the car to get to work. So you cover it with the credit card you just got penalized on because there's nowhere else to pull from. Now the balance is higher, the interest is higher. And next month's minimum payment is $40 more than it was last month. One bad month. And the debt didn't just stay still, it moved. It grew. It tightened. Now picture the same scenario with controlled debt. Your student loan payment was due, but it's 2 days late because of the paycheck delay. The lender sends a reminder. Maybe there's a $10 fee. You call them. They waive it or they don't. But either way, your loan terms don't change. Your interest rate stays the same. Your timeline stays the same. You're still in the same place you were a week ago. That's the difference. Controlled debt allows for mistakes. Panic debt punishes them. Here's the part that tricks people. Small debt feels safer. It's only $5,000. I can handle that. It's not like I owe $50,000. And in one sense, that's true. $5,000 is a smaller number than 50,000. But if that $5,000 is split across 3 high-interest accounts with misaligned due dates and compounding penalties, it can create more daily pressure than $50,000. A structured loan with a fixed payment and a decade to pay it off. Because the danger isn't in the size, it's in the structure. Panic debt creates constant urgency. Not urgency once, urgency always. Every week, something is due. Every month, something is tight. There's no moment where you're not managing it. Controlled debt might feel heavy, but it's stable. You know where you stand. Panic debt might feel small, but it's volatile. You never know if this is the month something breaks. Here's a simple way to know which kind of debt you're carrying. Ask yourself, which debt do you think about at night? Not the biggest one. The tightest one? The one that doesn't wait? The one that punishes unpredictability? The one that makes you check your phone at 11 p.m. to see if a payment went through? That's the debt that's draining you. And it might not even be the largest number on your list. It might be the smallest, but it's the one with the sharpest edges, the one that doesn't forgive, the one that's always there. If you can name it immediately without even thinking, that's panic debt. So how do you actually measure danger? Not by the dollar amount, by 3 things. Time pressure. How much room do you have between payments? Can you delay if something goes wrong? Or is the clock always running? Penalty severity? What happens if you miss? A reminder email? Or a cascade of fees, rate hikes, and credit damage? Flexibility. Can you adjust the terms if your situation changes? Can you pause, restructure, or negotiate? Or is the agreement rigid and unforgiving? Those 3 things, penalties, flexibility, determine whether debt controls you or you control it. A $20,000 loan with a 10-year timeline, low penalties, and the option to defer payments in an emergency is safer than a $3,000 payday loan due in 2 weeks with a 400% APR and no room to negotiate. Safety isn't about size. It's about breathing room. Let's make it concrete. Person A owes $20,000 on a student loan. Monthly payment, $220. Fixed interest rate. If they lose their job, they can apply for deferment. If they miss a payment, there's a grace period. The loan doesn't balloon. It doesn't shift. It just exists predictably. Person B owes $5,000, but it's spread across a payday loan, 2 credit cards, and a personal loan from a friend who needs it back by next month. The payday loan is due in 10 days with $150 in fees if it's late. 1 credit card has a 27% interest rate and a $40 late fee. The other has a promotional 0% rate that expires in 6 weeks, after which it jumps to 24%. And the friend keeps texting. Person A has more debt. Person B has more danger. Because person A has options. Time, predictability, room to recover if something goes wrong. Person B is 1 missed paycheck away from everything unraveling at once. The safest debt, if any debt can be called safe, is the kind that leaves you choices. The choice to delay if you need to. The choice to adjust your payment if your income changes. The choice to recover from a mistake without catastrophic consequences. Panic debt removes choice. It backs you into corners. It makes every decision feel urgent, every mistake feel permanent. And when you're living without choice, you stop planning. You stop imagining a future where things are different. You just survive today and hope tomorrow doesn't get worse. That's not sustainable. Not financially, not emotionally. You don't need a formula to know where you stand. Just ask yourself a few questions. Does this debt allow mistakes? Does it punish unpredictability? Does it reduce my options or leave me room to adjust? If the answers make you uncomfortable, that's not a failure. It's information. And here's the important part. If your debt feels overwhelming, it doesn't mean you're bad with money. It means you're holding the wrong kind of pressure. You're not broken. The structure is the goal isn't to eliminate debt overnight. The goal is to move from panic to control, to trade tight, volatile debt for stable, forgiving debt, to buy yourself time, to create room for mistakes, to stop living in survival mode and start living in planning mode. That might mean consolidating high interest accounts into one lower interest loan. It might mean negotiating new terms. It might mean making hard choices about what gets paid first. But the shift isn't about becoming perfect. It's about becoming safe. Debt will probably be part of your life for a while, maybe a long while, but it doesn't have to feel like drowning. The most dangerous debt isn't the one with the biggest number. It's the one that doesn't let you breathe. And once you see the difference, once you understand that pressure and size are not the same thing, you can start making decisions that give you back your time, your clarity, and your calm. You don't need to fix everything today. You just need to know what you're actually facing. And now you do.